That B12. I want to cover the B12 thing. It's quite interesting about your
Oh,
B12
yeah.
and iron deficiencies because you're iron deficient.
B12 deficient
B2?
because of iron, I think.
B12 because of iron.
I don't really know. My doctor tried to explain it to me, but I just trust him, and I know he knows what he's doing. So I
There's
just.
something wrong with your body. You were saying that you're
So what
If you have-
happens?
So was it B12 deficiency, was it? Or
B12 and iron,
and iron, okay.
but majorly
So-
B12.
Yeah, so you could the sort of like symptoms and stuff like just tiredness and that sort of thing. We end
Yeah,
up
like
with,
lethargic.
I think what exactly happens is like the red blood cells, I think with B12 deficiency end up swelling up and having like abnormally large red blood cells which don't function very well because
Yeah.
the amount of hemoglobin and how the red blood cells would move through the alveoli, which are the little air sacs in your
Yeah.
lungs.
Yeah.
It's how you basically get oxygen in and out of your cells. You'd have an anemia related to that because it's basically a deficiency in transferring the oxygen.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Whether or not that's but I'm not sure. But iron deficiency on top of that would be awful.
Yes. Yeah. So my gran was anemic during her pregnancy, and so we knew about that. And then my auntie's anemic. My mum's not, but it is very common in women, anemia, because of obviously blood loss from periods. But so when they told me I had a type of anemia, but they don't know, and they didn't do many tests to tell me anything. They just said we know you need iron transfusions and we know you need B12 injections. Let's do it.
Or after your vegan diet.
Before.
That's very much.
Before.
Very much related to.
This is what started.
This is what triggered me to turn vegetarian. So I don't understand this, and my doctor tried to explain it to me, but I was just like, whatever, you tell me, I'll just do what you need me to do to get better. But so it's spaced out a lot more now, but I used to get B12 injections every 2 weeks, and I had an iron transfusion with my endoscopy at the same time.
And you're taking iron tablets.
I started taking iron tablets, but then he told me to stop and just wait until I had my iron transfusion. I've still got them.
So what it sounds like is something called pernicious anemia, which is effectively bear in mind, I am not a doctor.
No, you're
I'm
just
a scientist.
Yeah,
Don't take
educated guess.
I'm explaining my
caveats.
Interpretation. I'm saying this because everyone mistakes me for a medical doctor.
No, of course,
medical scientist.
And he's a nerd, so
in a certain field.
Knows a lot.
But basically, so pernicious anemia is basically your immune system starts attacking certain types of cells in your stomach and gastrointestinal tract, and it prevents your uptake of B12.
Yes, that sounds
like what's.
Yeah, because what he told me, he did a test for I thought some sort of enzyme. I don't know if that's the right word for it, or if that's just what I picked up. But he did a test for that to see if I had the right things to be taking up the B12 when I was eating meat. Because he asked me, this is what, back when I was first diagnosed, he was like, how often are you eating meat? That was his first question. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know, probably
dumb vegetarian.
Almost every night for dinner. Almost maybe one night a week I wouldn't have meat. And it would be by accident because my family is just very meat driven. Unfortunately.
Very meat driven.
And he was like, okay, that's really weird. Let's do this test. So he did this test and he found out that for whatever reason, I just couldn't absorb that B12. No matter, I could eat, he told me, he was like, you could eat a steak for breakfast, lunch and dinner and you would still have a similar level of B12.
You can have an inhibition of uptake due to the lack of other proteins and things. So iron's a really good one. We don't know what it is in beef. That makes absorption of iron so much better, but there's something in beef that makes our absorption of iron a hell of a lot better. But you can have a lot of things like that with different vitamins.
But so they told me that.
They alter the absorption of other vitamins and that sort of thing.
They told me that, and I was like, you know what? I have this environmental knowledge of the impact of agriculture and of meat consumption. My body doesn't want to absorb the things that are supposed to be what I need from meat. Why should I eat it? And that's where it came from. That health perspective initially was me being like, I'm not getting anything out of it, and I know how bad it is for the environment. Let's just not do it. And that's how I've started.
The problem is,
I'll say sorry. I've got about 45 at the most minutes.
No, that's cool.
Yeah,
we'll wrap it up just after this. Yeah. But so
that was the scariest thing as well, because like you had this thing and you told your dad this, and he just didn't accept it. He knows better, and he knows more than a